Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. So by the time that this video goes out, Brigitte will be on the live servers and on console as well. She's a hero that's got people very excited, and some people claiming that they're going to main her in future seasons once she hits competitive. But until then, I wanted to go over 10 major mistakes that new Brigitte players can be making, and just stuff to bear in mind when learning this new hero. She's somebody that I absolutely adore playing and can't wait to play more when competitive opens up to her. But for now, it's just going to have to be quick play and pick up games and scrims, all that jazz. But if you have any mistakes of your own, do put them in the comments now, and we'll see if our mistakes actually line up as the video goes on. But let's get started. The first major mistake I feel we're going to see a lot is underutilizing the Shield Bash. Without a shadow of a doubt, Shield Bash is one of the best abilities in the game. It's one of the strongest CCs that can shut down not only strong abilities, but also ultimates as well. You have a little bit of protection as you're going in to use the ability, because obviously you're using your shield, so you can block some damage coming in. And also, there's no real way to actually stop it from happening. With say like a McCree flashbang, you can try and avoid it, deflect it, eat it up as Diva, but you can't do the same thing with a Shield Bash. There's also aiming the ability like Hog Hook, where you have to try and nail it at the right opportunity. But Shield Bash is a lot easier to land because you're basically point blank in their face. But also the cooldown on it is a lot shorter as well. It's one of the most dynamic, easiest to use CC abilities in the game that can shut down some really big ultimates, to be fair. But it's also great at just sort of shutting down people like a Genji or Doomfist that are trying to dive into your team. You Shield Bash them, it really takes the wind out of their sails and keeps them there for a second. And for somebody like Doomfist, that could be basically spelling out death for them. So I feel like the first mistake is kind of just thinking that this is another bit of toolkit. It's your best ability that you have, I believe. But the second mistake is overusing it. There is a certain theme with Brigitte. All of your abilities on a fairly low cooldown, but you have like a priority list, I suppose, of trying to work out when to use certain abilities. For example, a Shield Bash, you try and do it when a Hog's trying to take a Braver. Very good opportunity to do it, to stop him from healing and to actually kill him. But if he does that and then a Moira pulls out a Coalescence that heals up the rest of her team and kills a few of yours, there's going to be a lot of situations where you should have gone, I should have saved Shield Bash for this instead of that. And sometimes you just use Shield Bash to be a bit aggressive, to sort of bang into a Reinhardt for zero reason. And it's one of those abilities, because it's on a low cooldown, you can use it liberally, but I certainly feel that you need to be prepared for certain situations. Your game sense needs to be top notch to understand, I could Shield Bash and just hit this McCree in the face now, but he's looking for an opportunity to high noon, so I might as well wait a few seconds to try and get it. Because the worst opportunity is you try and Shield Bash him, for whatever reason he manages to use his ult, you don't have the CC to actually stop him and he gets a few kills. But the first two mistakes here I think are really important. She might be just like a Shield Bash bot at this point. It's a very strong ability, and I do believe it's worth highlighting at the start of this video at least. Number 3 is forcing Inspire. Inspire is Brigitte's passive, where once she does damage with her Flail, she starts healing the people in and around her. Well, what does that mean? Well, for example, it can put a lot of pressure on a Brigitte player when she's trying to proc Inspire. She needs to land some damage, and this goes on to a later mistake as well, but it kind of comes into like overextending in situations. Say you're defending on Eichenwald, first point, you're playing Brigitte, they have a Pharah and they have a team that's sort of slowly pushing in. You kind of need to be a bit more aggressive to actually push into them to be able to do damage and start healing your team that's taking damage from the Pharah above. But because of that, you can get caught out on your own. You can sort of overextend to an extent, try and do too many daring plays to try and start your healing, but also bear in mind that your healing does have a range as well, and it only heals people in that area once your Inspire actually procs. So what I mean by that is if you're stood 40 yards from your target that you want to heal, you proc Inspire and you run back to him, he won't be able to get any form of healing. He needs to be within range when that hit actually comes in. So because of that, you need to play it around your team. So kind of running off to proc Inspire when nobody else is around you is not only dangerous, but it's also pointless as well. Mistake number 4 is staying in the fight too long. It's kind of the polar opposite of what I'm saying with the previous mistake. Forcing Inspire is more like when you're away from a fight and you're trying to get involved to start your Inspire passive off. You can get alienated from your team and picked off on your own fairly easily. This is more the opposite. You're in that fight already, you're doing healing with Inspire, but let's say the other support in your team actually dies in the fight. You can't really solo support everybody that's still there. So being able to know when to disengage is really important, because you're right in the thick of it. You love a brawl, but sometimes you need to turn around and say, actually, I'm going to get out of here. Everybody else is leaving on my team. But because you're like smacking everybody, you're in the middle of this big brawl on like a control point, for example, if you're not aware that your team is backing out or not with you, you will just get killed on your own. So it's very important to just be aware of your surroundings. It's very difficult to do that as Brigitte because you are like a frontline support, but you need to sort of peer over your shoulder now and again to see who's actually with you in the fight, and also take a look at the kill feed. Otherwise, you'll end up in situations where you're just feeding ult to the enemy team and you're not really stalling the point on doing anything. Mistake number 5 is Flail's shot Optimism. You see this a lot with Roadhogs as well, going for like a daring hook onto a Pharah in the sky, when there's a much better and easier target to hit on the ground, which is much more important. Also bear in mind that Flail's shot does activate your passive Inspire as well, meaning that you don't want to be trying to hit a Pharah in the air. You're not going to be able to realistically kill them. But what you might want to do is use a Flail shot on a bigger target like a Hog that's maybe hooked your other support. You'll be able to knock him away, start off your passive, but also put off the Roadhog that he can't land that shot. It's very similar to what I was saying about the bad use of Shield Bash, where you just need to be aware of what opportunities are good to use what abilities, but most importantly knowing when you're throwing a Flail shot and being like, yep, that was pointless to do, I should try to stop hitting these targets that are really hard to hit. It's pretty cool when you hit a Flail shot and you actually kill somebody with it, but try not to be too audacious with it, I suppose. Tip number 6 is ability management, and this kind of comes under all of the tips, but also other heroes as well. But what you got to bear in mind that Brigitte is a combo hero. All of her abilities are on a lower cooldown and they flow into one quite well. Very similar to Doomfist and also Moira in the past. But you don't want to use all your abilities at once. You want to have that utility available to you and make sure that you can rotate your abilities in a way that you know when your flare shot's going to come up, when it's going to be useful, and just having the game sense to know when and what to use in situations. And that goes on to tip number 7, which is a lack of repair kit game sense. Repair kit is your burst heal, but it's also very good at supplying armor to one of your teammates that's diving into the fight. Your D.Va, your Winston, your Genji, your Doomfist, giving them a little bit extra health, almost acts like a Zarya shield to help protect them as they go in for the engage. And it could be the difference between your Genji actually being able to dive in, kill the supports in the backline, versus him being picked up almost instantly as he dives in. That 75 armor can go a long way. But this is Overwatch. Everybody always needs healing, and you're always going to get people asking for the burst healing more. So let's try to work out that priority. Are you going to give the armor to the Genji that's diving in, or are you going to give your repair kit to a support in the back that's quite low on health that you can actually heal up? Sometimes you can give a repair kit to a character that doesn't need it and turn around and see that somebody else has died, and it's another one of those situations where you should have gone, I should have done A instead of B because this didn't work. Game sense, positioning, and ability management are the important things about Brigitte. There's no real mechanical skill, at least not in the same sense as other supports like Zenyatta or Ana, but she plays like a tank, so having that knowledge and positioning and knowing what's going on around you and who actually needs your help is going to be pivotal. So if you're just giving repair kits to people that don't need them, you're going to be one of the main reasons why your team is going to lose a fight if you're not careful. We haven't actually spoken about the ult yet, so we're going to have the next two being this. Tip number 8 is rallying out of a fight. Trying to work out when to rally is one of the biggest mysteries surrounding Brigitte so far. But some people have the idea of using rally when a fight's not even happening. The reason being is that you keep the ammo that you get from rally. It's not temporary like the repair kits is. So what you can do is just give all of your team 150 armor out of a fight so they're ready for the next engagement. It's a sound idea and it could work just to be able to prop up your team with a little bit more health, especially on defense. However, you're only actually getting half of the healing out of it. Rally can give you 300 armor in a fight. However, Rally can give you no more than 150 armor on top of your total health pool. So if you're a 200 HP hero, you can't have any more than 350 HP with armor. So kind of rallying out of a fight means that you're only getting half of the armor that's available to you from this ultimate. And I feel like it's just not worth it. You want to use it at the start or an end of an engagement just to try and keep yourselves alive. It's almost like Supercharger in that sense. But I feel like using Rally outside of a fight is kind of using like half a Coalescence or half a Sound Barrier or half of a Valkyrie. It just doesn't have the same effect, and it almost feels like you're wasting it in opportunities. But there is a very important distinction to make with this ability, and that's panic rallying, mistake number 9. Rallying is like the opposite of Sound Barrier. Sound Barrier starts off very good when it's used, but gets worse as time goes on. Rally, when it begins, isn't the best, it slowly builds up over time. So one of the worst mistakes that you can make is actually dying once you use your ultimate. And that's one of the reasons why panic rallying is up on here. Say if your team's stuck in a graviton, you don't want to rally. If say a Pharah's about to use a barrage, it's not going to keep people alive in the same way that a Sound Barrier or a Transcendence might. What Rallying is very good at is slowly building people up, making them stronger as the fight goes on. You and your teammates get health over time and you get stronger over time. meaning that if you rally and you die, you basically get 0 use out of it, and your team gets 0 use out of it, other than maybe like 20 to 30 armor. And mistake number 10, probably a really obvious one, not knowing when to not play them. I said the same thing about the video that we did when we went over Moira, but to be fair, Moira is quite dynamic and useful in a lot of different situations, even in dive meta nowadays as well. However, Brigitte has obviously big flaws and big drawbacks in how she plays. She's close range, so she wants to play with a close range death volley kind of team, and she is so much more niche than some of the other supports in the game as well. There are going to be people at Mania, there are going to be people at One Tricker, you can't do very much about it, but if you are going to be one of those players that picks her up a lot, you need to know that when you're starting on the first point on Umbani or on Watch Point Gibraltar, that you can go, yeah, I don't necessarily think that Brigitte is going to be good here with the map that we're on, the team that we're running with, and also the enemy's composition as well. To be a master at hero, you need to know when to not play them as well. So kind of feigning ignorance there for the sake of one trick and a hero is not only just going to annoy your team, but it's also just the wrong thing to do a lot of the time, and it's going to lose you games. But there you are, 10 big mistakes about the newest hero. Let us know what you think as well with this list and what you would add to it if you could. Like and subscribe and all that jazz. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.